Hi, my name is Chris Childs. I'm the Executive Director of Students for Sensible Drug Policy at the University of Michigan. We are a grassroots network of students who oppose the war on drugs and know that's creating a lot more harm than good, individuals and society. We were out here today on campus rallying against a shooting at Grand Valley State University, shooting of Derek Copp, who was a student that was shot in a drug raid in the chest, although he was unarmed, and the police even said themselves there appeared to be no confrontation. This is a very tragic story. It's very sad, but it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. Although it might have been an accident, and regardless of the mistakes made by Derek and the officers, they created this situation that is prone to create accidents. Accidents will happen when you're doing no-knock drug raids, coming in through someone's back door with weapons. Accidents like this can happen, and they will happen, and they will continue to happen unless we treat drugs differently in our society. If we end the drug war, if we end prohibition, and start having sensible policies where we regulate and actually control the drugs in a manner maybe similar to alcohol, tobacco, or through the medical system. I hate to say legalize drugs because there's such a stigma with that, but there's different forms of legalization. Obviously, what's happening right now with this black market, with this incident at Grand Valley State University, things could be better. We could avoid accidents like this in the future, and I hope we do. And that's what we're out here. That's what we're out here to do. That's what Students for Sensible Drug Policy is all about. And if you want to find out more about our organization, you can go to our national website, which is schoolsnotprisons.com, or our chapter website for the University of Michigan, which is umdrugpolicy.org. Thank you very much. I'm glad I could get a hold of this, so I'll use this just so maybe the video camera can pick this up as well. And I want to invite everyone else walking around to come over here as well, because we're starting a rally against the shooting of Derek Copp at Grand Valley State University. Derek Copp was an unarmed individual, and the cops broke into his home. I mean, they had a search warrant for drugs, but the details of this still have not come out. They have not said what they have found. All we know really is that he was an unarmed individual who they shot in the chest. The chest is a very important part of the body. I don't know if you guys know that. Derek, thankfully, is not dead. He was sent to the hospital. He was in very serious condition. He was released just a couple days ago, and I believe now he's resting with family. But a shot to the chest can do a lot of harm. It can do a lot more harm than smoking marijuana for your entire life could do. I think that's a pretty easy statement to make. If anyone wants to argue it, they can. But obviously, this is a horrible tragedy. It's a horrible incident. And regardless of mistakes that were made by Derek and the cops, this situation could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. If we end this drug war, if we stop going after these people for using illicit drugs like marijuana, then we can avoid so many situations like this. We can get rid of so much violence going on in our streets because of the black market that this drug war really creates. We can end the violence that's going on between drug gangs, drug cartels. We cut off their sources of funding when we legalize drugs, when we regulate drugs, take it out of the hands of these criminals. They don't have any power left. Really, they don't. They make so much money from that, and that's how they get so much power. Let's take the power away from the criminals, from the gangs, from the cartels, and let's do something sensible and make drugs like marijuana legal. We want education, not incarceration. We want education, not incarceration. Derek Copp was shot in a drug raid, although he was unarmed and there was no confrontation, and he probably just had marijuana. This is what his attorney is saying. He just had like a handful of marijuana, just a personal amount of marijuana, but he was shot in the chest during this drug raid. This is tragic. This is appalling. This is shocking. This is a Knowing this is frustrating.
Chanting.
Piss you off?
Yeah.
What do we want?
Answers.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Answers.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Answers.
When do we want it?
Now.
The tactics that are being used these days are tactics that are carried over from the military, where the military is training police personnel how to operate. If you're in the military and you're in a war situation, you see the enemy, you shoot before you get shot. That is the normal procedure. It is the military that are teaching our police forces how to act towards drug users in our country. As a result, military tactics are being progressively used more and more. And as a result, there are more and more people who are being shot. And sometimes it's the wrong person completely. Some of these no-knock warrants are served on wrong addresses and people get shot anyway. And it has to do with the tactics that are being used by these departments. It's not intentional. They don't set out to say, let's see how many innocent Americans we can kill today. That's not what they're doing. It's just an accident, automatic, reflex action that takes place when using these kinds of tactics, such as the SWAT team using a no-knock warrant on a bad address. The woman, the 89-year-old woman down in Atlanta, Georgia, shot to death, and while she was bleeding and they figured out that she was actually an innocent person, the police officers planted marijuana so that they could justify the shooting. Those officers have been convicted and are now in jail for what they did. But that doesn't mean that these kinds of things have not taken place unnoticed. It's almost guaranteed that they have. Every U.S. citizen is being threatened by this action of our police forces who are supposed to be protecting us. And that's the purpose, supposedly, of these tactics, is to protect us. Ultimately, a lot of people are being shot and killed in the street. This is a shooting war our government has declared against its own population, and people are being shot and dying. In addition to that, that war has accelerated the problems down in Mexico. We're looking forward to our next Mexican-American war if we don't stop it soon. And there's only one way that that next Mexican-American war is going to be stopped, and that is do away with the war on drugs. Legalize them, regulate them, put them into places where people who are 18 or 21, whatever it is that makes sense, can get access to them, and take that cash flow out of the hands of the drug cartels. This will not take place. Those drug cartels will only get stronger and stronger and continue their invasion of America as long as our government is foolish enough to continue the war on drugs.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Gosh. So, there's this little button on this megaphone, actually. It makes a pretty interesting noise. It kind of sounds like a siren, police siren. I think it sounds more like a ray gun, actually. But I'll let you guys judge. Oh, no! Now, yeah, don't need to put your hands up just yet.
Don't shoot me!
One thing that really bothers me in this drug war is the fear that is instilled in everyone who choose to use drugs or have had experience with using drugs. Fear of the police. The police should not be feared. They are here to protect us. They're here for public safety. They are important, and we want them. We want the police to protect us, to serve as protectors, public safety monitors. We should not be fearing police. We should not be fearing police. But I know a lot of people, when they hear this, they jump. They jump, and they're like, "Oh, I gotta slow down. I gotta hide my stuff." Or even when people aren't doing anything illegal, and they're not even holding on to any drugs or doing any drugs or anything like that, but have experience with doing those things, they jump when they hear that police siren. They already have this fear instilled in them of the police, and that really bothers me. It really bothers me. The police should be here for our protection and our safety, but they're feared. They shouldn't be feared. Why are they being feared? It's because of this drug war. This drug war is one of the reasons that our cops are hated. It's one of the main reasons that people dislike cops. But the enemy is not cops. We are not protesting against cops. We're protesting against the drug laws that they are duty-bound to enforce. The cops don't have a choice, and usually they can't even come out and say, whether they would be in favor of legalization. Although, if you guys have heard of this organization, it's Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. It's a great organization of law enforcement officials from all walks of life, mostly people that have retired and feel comfortable coming out saying that a lot of the problems on the street are created from the black market of drugs. And that, in most cases, the cops don't have issues with any marijuana users being particularly violent. There aren't many issues with marijuana smokers causing great harm to others. Obviously, I can't make any blanket statement, but marijuana clearly, as a drug itself, and the use of that drug creates less harm to society than alcohol. Creates less harm to the individuals who choose to use it and to the people around them that are affected by their use.